There are 29 people in this photo. Among them, 17 people have won the Nobel Prize. Our modern knowledge of physics, more than half of it was created by them. It can be said that these people, to a certain extent, can influence the development of human civilization. This is the 5th Solvay Conference in 1927. The century debate between Einstein and Bohr also started from here. Our video is not about the battle for quantum supremacy. This kind of cliché popular science content is meant for deeper exploration, the philosophical questions behind this century debate. I wonder if all of you watching this video have ever thought about a question while studying physics. What is the subject of physics? Is it the phenomena of nature, or the essence of nature? If we use although, but to answer, we can certainly come up with a standard answer. Although physics is dedicated to revealing the essence of nature. However, physics is an empirical science. It must be understood through observation and experimentation. Methods such as mathematical modeling are used to understand natural phenomena. This correct standard answer can help you get the paper right. However, Einstein and Bohr did not think so. Simply put, Bohr believed that the theory of physics is simply a description of natural phenomena. Einstein, on the other hand, believed that the theory of physics reveals the essence of nature. This is actually the epistemological issue in Western philosophy. We all know that the primary goal of philosophy is to seek the truth. If we do not solve the problem of knowledge, the legitimacy of human knowledge will be questioned. For easier understanding, let's consider Plato's solution. Ancient Greek Plato believed in the existence of a world of ideas, also known as the world of knowledge. This world of knowledge is more real than the sensory world we see with our eyes. More real. If this world of knowledge does not exist, we cannot determine that a table is a table. A chair is a chair. Because of the various tables and chairs, they are all different. Only when they possess the same essence can they be defined in the same way. Therefore, for Plato, the differences in tables and chairs are merely different phenomena in the perceptible world. All tables and chairs in the perceptible world are nothing but projections of the perfect idea of a table that are projected. The perceptible world we see is merely the knowable world, which is the shadow cast by the perfect world of ideas. But humans always live in the perceptible world. We humans can only use limited senses to observe this world. How can we then explore the essence of the perfect world of ideas? Therefore, is the study of physics destined to only focus on phenomena? Bohr stands on the standpoint of human limitations, believing that physics is human physics, and not the physics of God. Our physics can only discuss the phenomena themselves. We are not the creators. How can we reach the world of essence? Einstein believed that we should abandon the presuppositions of the creator. Humans can understand the world of essence. All the theories made by physics are aimed at revealing the true nature of the natural world. With this question in mind, let's take another look at the two Solvay conferences of 1927 and 1930. We will gain a completely new perspective. On the surface, Einstein, as a critic of quantum mechanics, has been continuously proposing thought experiments to challenge the Copenhagen interpretation. He attempts to, from the fundamental theory of quantum mechanics, find a breakthrough to undermine the opponent. However, Bohr cleverly refuted all of these. Consequently, more and more people are siding with the Copenhagen interpretation. The storm of the quantum revolution seems to have already reached a conclusion in the physics community. However, in 1935, Einstein collaborated with Podolsky and Rosen to publish Is Quantum Mechanics a Complete Description of Physical Reality? Here, he proposed the famous EPR paradox. Bohr, who was challenged, it only troubled him for one night. The next day, upon waking up, he immediately discovered Einstein's flaw. Because we just spoiled it. In fact, Bohr and Einstein's philosophical views fundamentally had no common ground. Bohr found, in Einstein's subconscious, he had always assumed a classical realist image. He had already assumed it in the EPR paradox. Two particles before observation each have an objective spin state. In Bohr's view, before observation, there is simply no spin state of any particle. When not observed, there is simply no objective independent world. The so-called reality must be connected with the means of observation in order to have substantial significance. In other words, only when we observe particle A and particle B do the two particles become real. So as long as Bohr insists on not accepting Einstein's philosophical standpoint, this premise cannot be established. Even if the argument structure is rigorous and brilliant, its conclusion cannot be established. Therefore, for Bohr, the EPR paradox is not really a paradox. It is just based on Einstein's classical realism view. Quantum mechanics may be incomplete, but from Bohr's philosophical perspective, quantum mechanics is complete and logically consistent. Quantum mechanics is complete and logically consistent. So the debate between Einstein and Bohr is entirely about physics and the philosophical conflict over fundamental issues. This means we need to see the essence through a series of debates and also discuss two completely different philosophical views. Einstein once said, "The only thing I cannot understand is that this world is understandable." Einstein firmly believed in realism. He believed that the real world is composed of objectively existing entities. These entities have fixed properties and laws, so they must be governed by causal relationships. In Einstein's theory, we can see whether it is matter or energy, whether it is space or time. These basic concepts in his philosophical view are the foundation of objective existence. Therefore, Einstein always believed that science can inevitably use precise mathematical language to describe and explain all phenomena in the real world. This is also why Einstein always insisted on using traditional formal logic. He believed that true logical reasoning must be based on clear axioms and rules like formal logic. Based on clear axioms and rules, conclusions must be consistent with premises. In constructing any theoretical system, when explaining any experimental phenomenon, we must ensure the integrity and precision of the theory. Predictability. In other words, scientific concepts given must be real. Let's look at Bohr. Bohr's philosophical view is realism of states. He believes this real world is not constituted by entities, but by the states of systems, and the processes that evolve with time. These states are fundamentally probabilistic and uncertain. We humans can only describe them through statistical methods. So Bohr insists that science cannot precisely describe all phenomena in the micro world. Therefore, he introduced the concept of quantum states to describe the states of microscopic particles. And we can also find, based on Bohr's philosophical view, he is not obsessed with traditional formal logic, but adopts an empiricist approach. Because things in the real world have both certainty and uncertainty, when constructing a theoretical system or explaining experimental phenomena, Bohr emphasizes statistics and probability more. From this perspective, scientific theories should be described as possibilities rather than certainties. We all know what happened later. Between 1925 and 1955, Einstein spent 30 years perfecting his unified field theory, but the theory was indeed too difficult. In fact, in Einstein's heart, he always believed his fundamental assumptions were correct. Rather than saying he nitpicked the Copenhagen school, it's better to say Einstein was proving his inner thoughts. From a physics perspective today, Einstein may be in a disadvantageous position, especially in recent years. Bell's inequality verification seems to have already told us that Einstein was wrong. But we still have to ask, where did Einstein's philosophical views come from? In fact, there may be many answers. Starting from relativity, we might consider George Berkeley's empiricism, Kant's critique of pure reason, that I lack the expertise, had a profound influence on Einstein. However, in Einstein's philosophical views, we can find he had strong elements of determinism and realism. What influenced him the most was probably his shared Jewish background and the non-believer in a personal God, Spinoza. Einstein once expressed in a paper on Spinoza's important ethical values, I lack the expertise to write a scholarly paper on Spinoza. W. Praise briefly describes the following work, likely aligned closely with Spinoza's advocated knowledge classification, was the first in history to apply the most thorough deterministic method in a rigorous and consistent exploration of human thought and emotion, who discussed human behavior with rigorous consistency. The construction of Einstein's philosophical views likely has connections with Spinoza's advocated knowledge classification, likely aligned closely with Spinoza's advocated knowledge classification, has a certain relationship. Spinoza believes there are only 4 types of knowledge in the world. The first type, knowledge obtained through hearsay or misinterpretation. The second type is knowledge derived from sensory experience, knowledge obtained from individual things. The third type is knowledge derived through formal logical reasoning. The fourth type is knowledge obtained through understanding the essence of things. In ethics, Spinoza refers to the first 2 types of knowledge as imagination or opinion, and the knowledge obtained through logical reasoning as rational knowledge, while knowledge of the essence of things is called intuitive knowledge. Among these 3 types of knowledge, Spinoza believes that imagination and opinion are always unreliable, while rational knowledge is reliable. The reliability of rational knowledge ultimately comes from intuitive knowledge, which is what he calls true ideas. Spinoza believes that in order to obtain correct knowledge, one must adhere to the following methods. First, distinguish true ideas from other appearances. Take true ideas as the premise or axiom of reasoning. Second, establish the rules of reasoning and determine the order and structure of reasoning in order to ensure that the conclusions of reasoning are of universal necessity. This is very mathematical, also very logical. Indeed, in Spinoza's view, the paradigm of this method is geometry. So his ethics also has a subtitle called Demonstrated in Geometric Order. Quote, this book, in form, completely follows the deductive reasoning of geometry. First, definitions are made. Then axioms are established. Next, reasoning and proofs are based on definitions and axioms. Finally, propositions and theorems are derived. In this way, progressing layer by layer in an orderly manner, until constructing Spinoza's entire philosophical system. This is also why after proposing the special theory of relativity, Einstein went on to propose the general theory of relativity. His vision goes beyond just that. He has also been trying to further expand relativity into a unified field theory. This means unifying the strong force and weak force in physics, as well as gravitational force and electromagnetic force, to seek unification of these 4 forces. This involves describing them using a single mathematical language. If this idea is successful, it means that the study of physics can be simplified, complexities can be reduced to simplicity, Therefore, what we see is just the surface of scientific achievements. Further observation is needed, which involves the formal logic and mathematical methods used by Einstein, and mathematical tools. However, his fundamental driving force lies in Einstein's philosophical ideas. It is evident that his extensive reading of philosophical works during his youth provided Einstein with many insights. Of course, I am not saying that philosophy guides science in a certain way, but rather, the debate between Einstein and Bohr is essentially a philosophical debate. We cannot deny that Einstein and Bohr were both scientists with a profound philosophical background. There is textual evidence regarding whether both of them had a philosophical foundation. I suggest everyone to refer to the philosopher-scientist Einstein, Niels Bohr's philosophical literature. In fact, this video just uses Einstein and Bohr as an entry point to explain to everyone why in history many famous scientists were also philosophers. The relationship between science and philosophy. What kind of substantial relationship exists between them? This intimate relationship between science and philosophy, different from how we perceive scientists today, with a highly professionalized image. After all, science and philosophy have long been separated. The high specialization in the field of education also makes being a polymath to some extent a thing of the past. Scholars studying natural sciences today actually are no longer interested in philosophy, but we cannot deny physics has not fundamentally completely eliminated metaphysical problems. At least when we talk about quantum mechanics, it still brings up metaphysical questions of randomness and determinism. Of course, modern physics, after all, is a science that emphasizes empiricism. Like Einstein, Bohr, Planck, Newton, Descartes, Galileo. These scholars with strong philosophical backgrounds are probably like classical music, placed in the halls of history